Don't ask a fucking question if you don't want the answer.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying to the system. Yeah. If the system's going to allow these questions to be brought up and then not allow the people they give me to represent me to answer it, then fuck you, system. You need to fucking burn to the ground.
So there was a Roman senator who set the kind of standard that I often talk about that is required of us, and I feel must be met. His name was Cato, and Cato the Young, and he was a force for liberty. And he was the last man standing when the Roman Republic fell. Patrick Henry, when he dared King George and shouted, "Give me liberty or give me death," that was a statement that was influenced by Cato. Nathan Hale, who you and I talk about, Kim, when he said his only regret was that he had only one life to give for his country, right before he was hung by the British. That line was also influenced by Cato. George Washington, John Adams, and Samuel Adams were always honored when fellow patriots would call them American Catos. And Cato's life was one of refusal to give an inch in the face of tyranny. And he never compromised. He never cut deals. For him, there were no shades of gray. He refused political compromise in every form. He demanded the same standard from his friends, his family, especially his soldiers. And that standard secured him unquestioned authority. In Roman times, it was the measure of right and wrong. Cato was the benchmark. Even on election day, when he was stabbed on the way to the polls, it's a good time to talk about that with the election coming up. He stood his ground, bleeding profusely from his arm. He was with his brother, and his brother would say over and over again that I'm going to stand with you. I have the same principles. But when he saw his brother bleeding, he bitched out and he ran home, barricaded himself in his house. Cato instead stood in front of the Roman people and showed them his wounds and demonstrated to them that he would stand for liberty until the end. He said, "Fear can only control you if you give it permission. Choose to be unafraid, and the fear always vanishes." And you, Kim, have demonstrated that during the battles you're fighting against the tiny tyrants in defense of liberty on behalf of not only yourself, but many Americans that are going to be targeted next. And you know that. For their patriotism. You visited enemy territory just a few days ago. You flew into enemy territory. Yesterday. Into the swamp, Washington, D.C., to face your accuser. And because of your courage, you had a good day. And Kim, you make me proud. You make Doug proud. Yes. Make all of us proud, and you would make Cato proud. And we want the people watching today to hear your story about what happened the last couple days, the things that you were blessed with, the people that you came in contact with, the way it all turned out seemed to me like it was all meant to be. Yeah. And we want to hear that story.
Okay, well, Tony, most of my vision, my ideas of how I should conduct myself, they come from my faith.
Yeah.
Because the Bible says about God, He doesn't give us a spirit of fear,
Mm-hmm.
or some translate timidity.
Yeah.
Don't be timid.
Sure.
There's if God is for us, who can be against us?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's one. There was a time when this country was more God fearing, and so police weren't afraid to put their life on the line because they were assured in their salvation that they had a better place to go if they were to die in the line of duty. And duty's huge. So duty is your stewardship. They used to teach that in church. I got it from my Christian studies that you have a stewardship responsibility if God gives you a blessing. And I think the United States of America is for sure a blessing. Otherwise, why would everybody from around the world be trying to come here? Because this is a good place to be blessed. This is a blessing. And you have a responsibility to take care of your blessing. So that's one of my motivators. I talked about the faith of a child when I said, as a Boy Scout, on my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country. And God honors the faith of a child. And I said that sincerely when I was young. And I think there's something about that changed my mind and made me always hold on to that in my unconscious, that I have to be that because I said it. And I said it with conviction as a child would, believing wholeheartedly. So being around you, Tony, you're a rainmaker. You made things fall down good for me. You made it rain upon me. I was ready to go into the belly of the beast, flying by the seat of my pants. Monday night, you held the Goodfella's night in which you did a fundraiser for me to get out to D.C. Somebody, because I don't even have a bank account, bought the tickets for me with that. We raised.
Great night. Fun night.
Tuesday night, what? I fly out on a red eye.
Yep.
Yesterday, Wednesday, I arrive early in the morning there. I got picked up by Mickey, Ashley Babbitt's mother. You arranged that.
Yeah, thank God for Aaron Babbitt. We talked about him last time. Aaron Babbitt sends me a message, and he knew that you were flying out. I told him, and he said, "How would you like me to try to arrange it for Mickey, Ashley's mother, to meet him at the airport and pick him up?" And then I said, "That would be amazing," because he doesn't have anybody there. And then he followed up again and said, "How would you like it if I arranged it where she also open up a space for him to stay?" And I said, "That'd be just incredible." And he said, "Okay, let me see what I can do." And he said, "I'll even try to make it so that she accompanies him to the court." I said, "Wow." So he made all three things happen.
More than my expectations, too.
Yeah, I know.
I went out there. I'm flying blind. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to take public transit if I have to get to my 2:00 hearing.
Yeah.
If I have to sit on a bus for 3 hours. I didn't know what to expect, and she picks me up.
What time did you land?
9 a.m.
Wow. Okay, she was there on time, obviously.
They got me.
Yeah.
They took me to a safe house right there in the heart of D.C.
Amazing.
They've got this big house that is basically a transit point where people coming out of federal custody for J6 or people going to trial or hearings, all the above, they all get to stay at this house.
Amazing.
She maintains it. And you go to this house, it's the heart of a Democrat neighborhood, but you got Trump signs and everything all on the yard and everything.
Your heads are exploding in the neighborhood, right?
Yeah, they can cope and see. They're not going to do anything. I tell her when I started to realize, she'd say, "Yeah, they don't like it." I said, "What are they going to do about it?"
Yeah.
They're not going to do anything. They'd have to outsource to get somebody to do something about it.
Well, we don't want them to like us.
Yeah.
But
right?
She's unashamed. She puts it all out there.
Yeah.
And I guess, the Atlantic, which is like a leftist rag magazine, they're in the neighborhood too, and they saw the signs themselves. So they approached her, and they're doing interviews with them, like a 6-part series with her and the people that are in the house.
It's a great story. I think as you tell more about it, that house, I mean, one day should be a historic landmark.
It should be.
You know,
and we should go to it.
In this battle. But so you were just about getting ready to go to court, I think. You already landed, showered.
Well, they picked me up,
Yeah.
and she shows me a room upstairs. She said,
Yeah.
"Here's your room. There's fresh towels. You can get a shower if you want." And I said, "I'd like to take a power nap." That's fine. I took a nap, then got up, took a shower, shaved, got dressed, and looked nice, came downstairs. Hey, Tony and my fellow California friends and patriots. I'm in Washington, D.C. I'm here at it's called the Eagles Lodge, or something to that effect. It's Ashley Babbitt's mom's place. I made myself at home, got a good shower, and I got a good nap. And got a good shave. Anyway, Tony, thank you for helping me out. And you said you wanted a report, so here's one. I go to court in about 2 hours. When I walked in the living room, I looked at her and I said, Your Honor, I rest my case.
I got a video of that you sent me. Amazing.
That's funny.
No. I mean, you said, come on.
Your Honor, I rest my case. Well, I was feeling inspired because the blessings that were coming my way.
Yeah.
It was like things were turning around for me.
Yeah.
And it was just the beginning of a great day.
Sure.
And so they got one guy that had just gotten out of federal custody because he'd spent about a year in.
Yeah.
And the Supreme Court decision got him out. So he needed a place to stay. He was staying there. He drove us, dropped me and her friend,
nice people.
Nicole.
Oh, great people.
We said a real quick prayer before we got out of the vehicle. We went in to the courthouse.
Yeah.
And
well, explain to the people watching too, like why you were there.
Okay, so this case, here it is, the January 6th case. It's almost going on 4 years since January 6th. But the FBI arrested me almost 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Out in front of the courthouse in Santa Ana. And 14 FBI agents closed in on me. And so that's what I've been fighting on top of my local case. Mm-hmm. And, it's like back and forth. It feels like sometimes like you're getting jumped and you're fighting this direction and then they come and then you got to stop and fight them, but you got to punch that guy, make sure he stops. Then you got to go on two fronts and like sometimes it's three.
Yeah.
And so, you got all these different factors, but it gets my adrenaline going, fight or flight. Like it triggers me to go into like a fight mode.
But the hearing yesterday though was a sudden, like they notified you of it pretty suddenly, right? It came out of nowhere.
Well, what they did was they were changing. It was like a fast-moving battlefield because it was supposed to be like a status conference hearing on the 16th for readiness for my trial on January 6th, which is on the 28th of October. Yeah. So 12 days later.
Yeah. And it's important to understand they're pushing to get this trial done before the election.
Before they told you heard it yourself.
Yes,
you were there.
Doug was sitting there, and he asked him, and her
at the restaurant. You were sitting at the restaurant with Kim and his public defender at the time.
My federal public defender and her associate, another federal public defender, and he was very candid. And so,
But when you went into court yesterday, you show up, you make the effort, a big effort, obviously. Then you find out you didn't even have to be there in person, correct?
Well, so here's the thing. The fight is this. I'm fighting the government, and the government's fighting against me. We're locked in battle. They're trying to, suppress me and file motions against me. But then I got, basically a trial within a trial because my frontline fight, the first line of battle, is actually the court-appointed attorney they gave me. Mm-hmm. I'm fighting her because I'm basically, for all intent and purpose, I'm sitting in that courtroom with my hands bound and my mouth gagged. Mm-hmm. I'm not allowed to say anything. I'm not allowed to introduce anything. And so the government is throwing all this stuff on me. And then the woman or the federal public defender, whoever it may be, is supposed to sit there and advocate for me and clean me up for the judge. Mm-hmm. They do none of that. Nothing. So I sit there and I got to take it. I'm just sitting there like a punching bag. And it's enraging. And I think that's part of the psychological operation of it, that they want to frustrate you. Yeah. They want to make it uncomfortable. They want you to squirm. And I'm sitting there, and this has been going on for years. They throw all these different things up that there's an answer for any of them, but they won't give the answer. The judge asks it. It gets in the record. Why is this? Why is that? Why is this? and they don't respond. So now that, whatever thing they said negative stands and it goes unopposed. And that's the rub. That's the thing that pisses me off the most. So once I told her 2 months ago, on the 16th of August, I don't want you to represent me anymore. I want you off my case. I think there's a conflict. She didn't do it because she wanted to. She's obligated by law to file a motion for her own removal. And she did, but she didn't put any teeth in it. She pulled her punches.
Yeah.
Just going through the motions. She filed this motion weak, empty. And but what that does do is it opens the door, because now it's no longer me fighting against the government. Then these hearings go to these secret little hearings where it's just her and me and the judge and his clerk. And so it's basically her and me fighting it out. And I'm trying to point the finger at her what she's doing wrong. Well, now that empowers me. My hands are no longer unbound. My mouth is free to talk. So I started getting things in the record. And I then filed these declarations in which I got, I, Kim Sargente, declared this. And I would state all these things that were being left out up until that point. And I get those in the record. And some of the things I got in the record were like from you. I got your investigative report when you were sitting there by my side for that one run-in with Bo, which we covered a few episodes back.
Sure.
That's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
You are an authority. You're licensed. You can speak. You can carry a gun. You can speak in a courtroom and testify as an expert.
Mm-hmm.
So your investigative report, that packs some weight.
Mm-hmm.
I gave an example the judge had put in the record. I don't understand, Mr. Sargente, I don't think you'd be happy with any attorney. You've already had 5 and she's your 6th. And she doesn't respond. So then I put in the declaration, well, my first 2 retired. My 3rd aggressed upon me and then removed himself very quickly. My 4th and 5th ruled themselves off the case and they declared a conflict because of a prior case. All these, none of my fault. That wasn't getting in the record until I got my declaration. Once you get in the declaration and you get these information bits into the record, if they then make bad decisions, it could come back to haunt them, because now you can visit that on appeal and say he was aware of this or that or that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what's key, is you have to get things in the record, because if there's no record of it, it's as if it never happened.
Yeah.
Just like when the police refuse to take a report,
Sure.
it's as if it never happened. They're eating the cats. My cat's been butchered. They don't take a report, it's as if it never happened. That's how they're denying we Americans. Because the word outlaw, it doesn't just mean a person that's chosen willfully to operate outside of law. It's also a person that's not afforded the protection of law. And that goes back to like old England when only people that were like of noble descent or wealthy could actually get the law to protect them. Mm-hmm. If you were just a peasant or regular folk, you had no protection of the law. Didn't matter if you weren't doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
Didn't matter if you weren't a bad person. You were going to church. You were doing your work. You were an outlaw too. And they want to do that. They want to return to that and make all Americans outlaws. If you're unless you're on the left, then you're part of the party. Like you're part of the Communist Party. Yeah. You get the perks. You get the multi-million-dollar settlements from who they award from you, these judgments like you were talking about.
Yep.
Then you get the perks, and they want a 2-tier justice system, and they want to take away our freedom.
So you walk in, the woman kind of recognized you from a Zoom connection you guys had when you were in Florida, dressed in a Hawaiian shirt, right?
Yeah, I was wearing like a tropical shirt because.
So you walked in, and you said to her, "Hey, do you remember me?" Right?
Well, I walk in, I go, hello, Mrs. or Miss So-and-so. And she said, Mr. Sargente, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And I said, well, there's a hearing. She said, didn't you get the word that the judge 6 days ago, he put out an order that this was not having to be mandatory presence, that it was going to be electronically held? And I said, no. I said,
and bang, right? That emboldened your argument
that my court-appointed attorney
wasn't doing her job.
She said, didn't your attorney tell you? I said, no, we haven't been in communication. She didn't tell me.
Yeah.
And so she gets on her computer and she starts, I guess, shooting out an email to the judge.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe he's at his house in Virginia.
But before that, you said to her, do you remember me? I was the
No,
guy
no,
on
no,
Zoom,
no, no.
right?
I said it at the end.
Oh, at the end, okay.
At the end, of course, she
All right.
remembers me.
All right, we'll
Yeah.
get to that. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Of course, she remembers me.
Yeah, everyone
So,
remembers you.
I don't want to. I'm
I
not
wonder
putting the
why.
cart before the horse. It's strictly business, Tony. You
I think
business first, play later.
I think the biggest fear for anyone trying to prosecute Kim is that they know people are impressed by him.
I'm memorable.
I think, well, that's obvious, but I think people like him,
Yeah.
whether they admit it or not. I mean,
I don't know if they like me, but they remember me.
they like you. Most of them won't admit it because they're your enemies, but you know,
My enemies are obsessed with me.
I can see it's pretty obvious. Yeah. So okay, so they contact the judge, and then what happens?
So she emails the judge and gives him the rundown, basically. And she says, yeah, we're going to have this on Zoom. And so I'm the guy sitting in the courtroom, along with Nicole and Mickey, Ashley's mother.
Which is great. You have a couple people there with you.
A couple other people
which is
watching,
nice.
and the clerk. And
Every
so the
ally.
judge comes on the Zoom screen.
Judge's name?
Judge Kelly.
Got
He's on the Zoom screen.
Kelly.
Yes.
Do you remember his first name?
Yeah, Timothy J. Kelly.
Got it. Go ahead.
He's on the Zoom screen, probably at his home in Virginia,
Yep.
close by.
Sure. Was he in a robe?
Yeah, he
Okay.
he's probably got to set up at his
Got it,
house
got
or
it,
his
got it.
study, his den.
Okay.
And then you have the federal public defender and her partner out in Oklahoma.
And what's the courtroom like? Like you're in a DC federal court for J6. It's a historic courtroom because he has sent several people to prison, right? The same
Proud
judge.
Boys, whatnot. Yeah.
So you're in that
Yeah.
courtroom. Like, did you get a feeling for any of that when you were in there?
I mean, it's kind
Did
of
you
like
sense any of that?
when you and I go to the Santa courthouse and we
Yeah.
see the marble
It's
and
the
the
same shit,
opulence.
yeah.
It's like the best that money can buy, Tony.
Well, I would imagine, but I would imagine the federal court's even better, right? In terms of,
Well, in DC, you mean?
in terms of opulence, it's even to another level. No?
I would say it's probably older, but our Santa Ana
Older.
court is actually more impressive.
Sure.
Our
okay.
Ronald Reagan Federal Building in Santa Ana, it's magnificent.
When you're in the
Yeah.
courtroom, did you think about other J6ers being in that courtroom, or you were just so focused on what was going on in front of you, you didn't have time for that?
Why do I got to think about them? I'm a J6er. Right
Yeah.
now, it's me.
Yeah,
and you know what? The other guys, they don't do it the way I do it.
Nobody does.
So I'm not
We'll
going to
get
think. Why would I listen to them or
and we'll
follow
get to
their
that.
lead?
No,
I'm not going to think about them. They should be thinking about me.
Well, I think they all are thinking about
They've
you.
already been convicted and locked up.
Especially when
They're flicking a light.
Especially when they see the result. Yeah.
Or they took some deal on some.
Yeah. But still, it's injustice, right?
It's wrong what happened to them.
Yeah.
But it reminds you of like when in Santa Ana, those Soros thugs were punching all these people with brass knuckles. And then they got to me, and then they got a mouthful of megaphone.
But the difference is that when you're done with this, all of them that went away will hopefully be inspired and go back and try to learn from you and be better fighters. So what happened? What happened when? So the judge comes on the screen. And what happens?
He's already. I'm pretty sure from the way he talked, when he spoke, he's already been. There's been a preface. He's understood that like I didn't get the memo.
Yeah.
And he'd already. Mickey would point this out, and it seemed clear. He'd already made up his mind, but he made up his mind in my favor.
Yeah.
Because I had filed this very thick declaration just about 3 weeks ago, in which I included a lot of things, basically explanation of why I had so many pre-existing federal public defenders that like pieced out, why I had the issue with Bo and your letter and various other things. I put so much into the record. Like, for instance, he wanted to know why I was facing this charge and that charge up in Martinez, California. And I gave the police report. I gave the DA's failure to prosecute, decline to prosecute letter.
Yep.
I gave, I basically was saving a guy. Back then he went by Bilal Isali. Mm-hmm. And he was like like American civil liberties and justice type thing for the conservatives. He was an appointed attorney to go and represent this couple that had paint over Black Lives Matter and were getting prosecuted for a hate crime.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
By a Soros-funded, and this is openly admitted,
I remember
a
this.
Soros-funded DA.
Yeah.
So talk about conflict of interest. She's been funded, $168,000 from Soros, and then she's prosecuting a couple that defaced an organization's moniker that's also funded by Soros. So this is conflict of interest. They don't care about rules.
No.
So when I saw that wasn't too far away from where I was staying up in Northern California, I said, I'm going to go support. And
well, I don't want to go too much into that story. I want to stay on what you did.
well, this is one of the things I put in because there were some BLMers. They say the worst things.
I understand.
They tried to like really smut me up.
Yeah.
And then the prosecution in my federal case tried to say, oh, he did this and he did that.
Yeah.
And then the judge is left there wondering, well, I want to know more about that. And then it's crickets
Got it.
from my federal public defenders.
Got it.
Not a damn word said about
Gotcha,
it.
yeah.
So I'm sitting stewing on that since
Yeah.
2022.
Yeah.
And you can't imagine, when you have somebody saying something about you, they're attacking you,
Yeah.
and you got to sit there with your hands tied
Yep.
and take it. No, not me.
Yeah.
I'm going to fucking sit there and I'm going to smolder with an intense rage until I get my day in court to speak. Because they're not going to fucking defame me and throw me under the bus and have me sit there and take it like a chump. So when I saw my opportunity, if I can sink my teeth into it, I go for it, Tony.
Yep. You're the bulldog, man.
So I did. I put that in the declaration. I explained who, I gave his bio. This is, he's changed his name to Bill Asali.
Yeah.
He's now a state assemblyman in California.
Yeah.
I gave the police reports. I showed that basically he was being attacked by the BLMers.
Sure.
I saved his ass. He ran frantically back in the courthouse. They all came at me from across the street of the courthouse. I pointed out that it was all on video. I pointed out that the police saw that I'd done nothing wrong. The police reports are in my favor. And inevitably, it was a big nothing. And so now I get to answer what the judge had asked back in 2022.
So you had it.
And it took a long time.
Yeah.
And so I get to answer that along with a bunch of other things. I put a picture in my Santa case of my poor victim accuser with his brass knuckles. I put information about his gang, the sick-minded criminals. I put information about his priors, his lengthy criminal record, his arrest for brass knuckles before our encounter. I put all this in because these are questions that the judge asked. Don't ask a fucking question if you don't want the answer.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying to the system. If the system's going to allow these questions to be brought up and then not allow the people they give me to represent me to answer it, then fuck you, system. You need to fucking burn to the ground because that's not a justice system. That's a fucking lie system. And I fucking am sick and tired of this shit. So finally I got my day in court. Every dog gets his day. The Bulldog got his day yesterday.
Yeah.
Right? I got my day in
That was a
court.
great day.
The judge had read my declaration. And now he can't ignore it.
Yep.
He can't ignore these facts. They're in the record now because I found my in the trial within a trial. The trial of the government against me, but the trial within it is my battle against my court-appointed fake, pretender public defender.
So the outcome was?
He's going to remove her.
Boom.
They were saying for the
Done.
longest time, we're not going to remove her. You're going to trial on October 28th. She's either going to be there by your side representing you, or she's going to be there by your side as an advisor. And I'm like, no, I don't want her fucking anywhere near me.
He messaged me and he said, got everything I wanted.
Yeah. What was her reaction? I mean, did she?
Does she know?
She didn't really want to get off the case, or did she want? I mean, what?
So she's a political hack. She's like down there in Oklahoma, progressive women wanting to make change, right? She wants to be a senator. She's like a Hillary Clinton from 40 years ago, right? So she wants to make a name for herself, and she can earn some brownie points with their little secret system by selling me out, putting my pelt on the wall.
That's right. I always talk about the pelts. Like she wanted it.
She wanted
that. She wanted the Kim Sorgente pelt.
Yeah.
She did.
She didn't get it though.
She didn't.
Just another one of my stalkers.
So you walk out, and the clerk said something funny to you, right?
Well, no. So when it was all done, the judge gave me what I wanted.
Yeah.
He said, "No, we're gonna. I see now that I've read, and I understand that. Yeah, you are in conflict. We're going to take her off the case. We will appoint you a new attorney. So we'll come back on November 21st, to see where you are with your new attorney. And so basically now, who knows? It could be another 2-3 months till I get my day in court for my trial.
After the election. Yeah.
But not with her.
Yeah.
And why it's important that it's after the election? Because purposefully they told Doug that The government wants to have this trial before the election.
Of course.
Get as many convictions of J6
They
as
told
they
you.
can.
They admitted to it.
They told it, and his sworn statement was also in that declaration.
Amen to that.
So when you put that in the record, you're showing that, hey, there's bias here. This is a malicious prosecution.
You're shining the light on the cockroaches.
They don't want all this doubt being brought into the record and them do nothing about it. They can't have the appearance of impropriety.
Yeah.
Maybe the system doesn't actually care about what's truth and what's proper and what's not. But if you shine light on it, they have to care.
Yeah.
And that's the way you got to do it. So I did the best I could despite the gag people they put in front of me, like her.
Yeah.
They basically leave stuff out, but I got it in.
So that was done.
Well, that was done. So then Nicole and Mickey went out of the courtroom. But I stepped up and I said to the clerk, I said, do you remember me from 2022 when I was in Florida and they had that emergency hearing and I was sitting there like with a tropical tank top
on Zoom.
On Zoom, I was on Zoom. They wanted this last minute hearing. I said, and I was there with a tropical shirt with palm trees, little tank top, and I was on the Zoom hearing. I said, because I thought you saw me and you were kind of like smirking. And she said, that was probably me. Yeah, I think I remember that. And I said, okay, I just was making sure because I thought you thought that was pretty funny.
And she said,
well, you know what? I want to ask you something. And she says, has anybody ever told you that you look like, and I start nodding and agreeing. She says, you look like Joe Pesci. I said, yeah, all the time.
Look.
That's what she said.
You look, you sound like him. I mean, your life is what he tries to portray in his movies. I mean,
well, you say the best. Joe Pesci, the real Joe Pesci, has to act to be like him.
That's act.
He lives it.
He's for real.
Tony, he's Italian too. Give the
I
guy
do.
his credit.
No, I'm not,
Maybe he's
I'm
not acting.
bashing.
He's not acting.
I'm not bashing.
No, I don't know.
I'm not bashing.
I mean, if we're
I like Joe Pesci.
Italian, we talk
He's
like
a talented
we
guy. You know, Joe Pesci actually helped the Four Seasons get their start.
Oh, he did?
Think about that. Yeah. Frankie Valli and those guys. He's a musician, a talented musician too. Yeah. Anyway, so then you go back to the house. And then you told me the story a little bit. I wanted to save it for tonight.
We step outside and immediately start shooting texts to all the friends and supporters saying, success in D.C., right?
Who was doing that?
I was doing that to all you guys. First thing I sent you one. I sent everybody. And then I called you.
Yep.
And then like your voice was like, I had you on loudspeaker on my phone, and Mickey was sitting there listening to you talk, and evidently she was impressed by you. I think we're all impressed by each other. Yeah. I'm impressed by her.
Yeah, sure.
You're impressed by me. I'm impressed by you. She's impressed by you. We're impressed by her.
Yeah.
Like, we all love each other. We all admire. We all respect.
Everyone's impressed by Doug.
Well, yes.
Thank you.
Everyone loves you. Everyone loves you, Doug.
She remembers you, Doug.
So
does she remember me?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, awesome.
So then some cool things happened back at the house. Like there was you said there was a vigil and the lights going on and off, and just some cool things you were telling me about.
So what happened was we went back to the house. They went to go take a nap. I went for a walk to clear my head, just absorb all the fantastic things that had happened, and just process and just give thanks to God, and shoot out some more texts to more people and thank them and everything. And then I picked up some food. Because we're Italian, we want to celebrate. Yeah. So I brought some food back for them to eat at like 5 p.m. Yeah. Right?
What kind of food you guys get?
I just, there was like, don't get mad.
Okay.
Mexican place.
That's all right. Go ahead.
A birria, with that stewed meat.
That's fun, yeah.
So I just grabbed a bunch of food and brought it back. And they woke up. I said, I got food, let's all eat. I'm Italian. We got to celebrate with food. Let's eat.
Yeah, sure.
So we all kind of ate and like that. And then we ended up going. This is what's amazing. One of the amazing things about Mickey, Ashley Babbitt's mother, is she's been, and I don't know how many days now. It's like whatever, like some like 1,361 days. She's been having a nightly vigil in D.C. They call it Freedom Corner. It's right there outside of the jail where they're holding J6ers that are awaiting trial. Mm-hmm. Some of those people have been in there
incredible.
3-4 years.
Yeah.
And so
this is the jail they call the gulag jail, right?
I don't know which ones are gulags. They're all gulags to me, but this is so. If you've been arrested but you haven't gone to trial yet, you're in a jail. If you've been convicted, you're in a federal prison. So prisons and jails are different.
Yeah.
And one of the bad things is jails are kind of worse because you don't get to really get a program going.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that would be the gulag because you like they don't care about your comfort or anything. They keep you in harsh conditions because they want to basically soften you up for when you go to trial.
I think what he's asking is that's the J6 jail. That's the one.
It's the J6
Is this
jail.
the jail that Marjorie
Yeah.
Taylor Greene's trying to get into all the time, and Matt Gaetz was trying to get into?
No. Those are well, maybe, yeah, but there are prisons too. They're trying to get into.
To be honest, I don't know.
So you're right there.
I don't know because I'm fighting things right here, right now.
So the vigil. She does a vigil every night, right, in honor of her daughter, right?
So they have
Which is incredible.
It was heavy.
Yeah, I know.
They have pictures of her daughter Ashley Babbitt. They have Roseanne Boylan, and they have pictures of some men that were killed, murdered because of that day, and what happened. And they even have a picture of that one officer that died, and they said murdered, and his death to me seemed kind of suspicious, like they may have killed him so they could blame us.
Why is his picture there?
I think that he really wasn't. I think maybe he didn't want to. My own theory, and I sense this right out into that he didn't want to go with the narrative, and the government took him out and made him a martyr.
Why? I assume
this government will kill you.
I understand,
and then blame the people that you support for your death.
No, I understand that, but why did Mickey decide, or that group decide to include him? Because they feel maybe that's the truth, right?
Tony, I've never felt any bad vibes from the guy that passed away, the one that they tried to pin on us. I honestly feel that he's more a victim of the deep state than he is of anything else.
Got it.
And I think they used him as a pawn. They want to use his name and they want to defame us with, it's like a win-win. They get to take out somebody that's not in lockstep with their fucking narrative.
Got it.
That's my theory.
Yeah.
That's just, I got nothing to back it up but my heart and this feeling,
That's
but
fine.
It just doesn't smell right.
So you have the vigil, which you said was very, very moving for you. But you said something about flashing lights. What was that?
Well, so there's live streams going on, and they have their little thing they do for like the 3 hours they're there every night, where they read the list of names of J6ers that are locked up, and they do these different things. People come up. Some people call in from
every night.
Every night, people call in from prisons or jails or whatever they call in, and then toward the end, as it's wrapping up, I guess every night around 9 p.m., the guys that are in the jail, they all like in unison sing the Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah.
And they got it on a phone. And so you can hear it. And then they're holding their phone to a mic.
Incredible.
So it's going on this, this big speaker. And while they're doing it, they got one guy that's in the jail that somehow there's like two different wings of the jail or two different areas where you see the lights turning on and off.
Yeah.
And that's like their, I want to say pathetic but magnificent SOS or signal to the outside world. We're here.
Yeah.
We're here.
It's incredible.
And all they can do is this little flashing of a light to send a signal to us outside. We're here. Don't forget us. So that's their only way. They can just flash a light on and off. So, I mean, I was sitting there just taking it in, watching it, and just moved and just feeling like, survivor's guilt because but for the grace of God go I could be in there flashing a light, but I'm out, I'm free. But I got to do what I can while I'm free for me and for them and for everybody. So I felt survivor's guilt. I felt sad for them. I felt sad about the whole thing, seeing the pictures of Roseanne Boylan and Ashley Babbitt. I feel sad about seeing Mickey, Ashley's mother, how she's steadfast and she's carrying the torch and she's doing it day in, day out, or night in, night out. I mean, doing this every day. Yeah. And there are these people there that are holding a vigil for all of us. And, and just, I'm taking it in. And then I was like, what what am I doing? I got to get some of this on video. So I started recording.
Cool, good. But think about them flashing lights. We got to put those motherfuckers, Kamala, Biden, Clintons, Obamas, all those tyrants in that fucking prison. We got to find a way
to get them in those cells
first.
Instead.
First, we got to find a way. If there's any way possible, if somebody out there would fund it, it's an operation to storm that fucking prison and just release them all.
Release them all.
All right.
It's hard to believe.
Break them all out. What?
It's hard to believe that is actually happening in this country.
I'm sitting here listening to him, and my blood is boiling. And then
Send in the Marines.
Yeah, well, I want to get to that tonight, but I was also thinking about just how when you were talking about the flashing of the lights, I was thinking, I was picturing, imagining people I just talked about and more, people who support them behind the fucking bars, flashing lights and all. So that's all they fucking had, you know? And I wouldn't even give them fucking light bulbs. Give them a candle, maybe, you know? It's just, it's fucking horrible. And I think about, first of all, I'm so glad that you had a great couple days. You had a great day.
Tony, I was literally, I arrived at 9 a.m. Wednesday, yesterday.
You got back
and I left
9
a.m. and I left there 9 a.m. this morning today.
Yeah, I mean, but you've been feeling good the last couple of days, and you walked in, but it's been like 24 hours. But he walked in here just a few hours ago. We hadn't even seen him until he walked in and sat down. So for people watching this, you're seeing him for the first time, just like us, and it's just great to have you here, man, and to see you feeling so refreshed and energized and ready to do battle again, and all those people that came on Monday night, Goodfella's night. What a great night! You gave great talk. We had it was just a fun night all around. So many people showed up, and people were encouraging him. They were honored to be invited to support him. And a lot of them were excited that heard that you had a good day in Washington D.C. I think you enjoyed it, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, but
you had a good time.
I mean, that was Monday night, and so my mind was still like in the game. I
know.
I couldn't really enjoy myself. It's still business for me, Tony.
I know.
You guys came through for me, and that was a relief.
There's a lot of men that came through that night. Yeah.
But it wasn't like I could really.
We planned we planned this one on short notice too. Really, like 10 days, and it was packed. It was funny because that night, it was like we had a demolition derby in the parking lot. Guys were having so much fun on the way out. Cars were kind of crashing into each other in the parking lot. John, as you know, has got that 1971
Cadillac.
Vintage gold caddy, beautiful, made in America, of course. And another guy was driving, I think, a Japanese car, plastic, right?
Yeah.
He backs up. We're all talking outside, and we hear this
crunch,
bang and crunch. And the first thing we're thinking about is John's car.
Yeah. It's a tank, right?
Yeah, he's got on the plate. Forget about it. I forget how he spells with the letters. So we go walking over to his car first because we're worried about his car. He's got the classic vintage car.
Yeah.
We walk over there, and he doesn't have a fucking scratch on that car. Nothing.
It was steel.
Steel.
Yeah, big
American steel. The other car crunched up. Back end crunched up.
My dad's 64 Thunderbird.
Yeah.
It got shot at, and the bullets just bounced off of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it was proof right there. But the funny thing is, Will goes in and tells him. John is so cool. Will goes in and tells him about it. Hey, man, somebody smashed in your car. And he said that John looked at him and said, do I need to go out there and check on it? Like, he didn't even fucking care.
Cool
he was having fun.
I said, your car is a wrecking ball, man. It just sits there like a brick wall, and people back into it. Yeah. And it's like, and then, so we're all talking about it. And then 15, 20 minutes later after that, I hear another crunch, and somebody backed up into my truck.
Yeah.
And their car got smashed too. It's American made, right?
Because it's
we told that story. Yeah.
Basilico's Pasta e Vino.
Yes.
Vino, maybe.
There's a lot of vino flowing.
A lot of vino. But I think about when I think about the flashing of the light, what really pissed me off this week is when I heard that Kamala did some campaign event at Washington Crossing. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
Washington Crossing, where that took place.
Yeah.
And somebody sent me a link to the interview that Brett Baer did with her. That was a big story, right, on Fox. And I can't believe that guy gets fucking paid $20 million a year for doing that. And he owns like a $31 million house.
Yeah.
For that, that's the best you can fucking do. She scolded him, and he answered yes, ma'am to her when she said basically she was telling him to shut up.
Yeah.
Let her speak. He's like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the elite. Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding, please?
But
you have to let me finish.
You
please.
had the White House and the House and the Senate,
and they didn't bring up that bill. I'm responding to the point you're raising, and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
I would have said to her, "Who the fuck do you think you're talking to?" Imagine if he had said that.
He should have said
that. That would have been historic.
That's the whole thing.
Who the fuck do you think you're talking? Yeah, I would have risked all $20 million just for that opportunity. Who fucking care? $20 million, and that's what you get. And people, of course, are praising it. He was so no, he wasn't. What?
I think he was just so excited that he got her to agree to do an interview on Fox because she wasn't going to do Fox at all until her.
He should have asked her, "How do you feel about?" One of his questions had been, "How do you feel about Tony Roman and the crew on Roman Rules calling you a slut?" That's what he should have asked her.
That's exactly
That's what he should have. He should ask her, "How do you think George Washington would feel that a communist like you are having an event on hollow ground like this? Sacrilege."
Yes.
What are you gonna say?
She should never have been anywhere near that.
Yeah.
Well, here's the point too. So this is Washington crossing to go attack the British, right?
Yeah.
Her family, who she's descended from, they were in allegiance to the crown. The Jamaicans in Jamaica, that was
her
part.
father.
That's part. They were slaveholders. Yeah. They were part of the English crown, and then she grew up in Canada, which is also part of the British crown, right? So she's not American, really. No. You know.
If George Washington was alive, he would have grabbed one of those oars and whacked him over the head, right? I mean, he would. It would be such a disappointment for him to see people like that.
Yeah.
That stand against all the principles that this country was founded upon. And here they are trying to hijack it for like a backdrop, for points. I was just thinking about how he should have asked her if she has imposter syndrome, because damn well, she stands there, she sits there when she's being interviewed in that empty suit, right? I mean, she's a nobody.
Yeah.
She's a nothing. And she thinks about it. You can tell when the questions are asked, the look on her face. She's got that blank stare. She's almost terrified of what the next question is going to be because she doesn't have any answers.
She doesn't know what
Did you
to
see
say.
any of it?
Yeah.
I've seen her answers in the past, and I'm pretty sure some of her advisors got at her and said, "Stop doing that." But her answer used to be to laugh insanely, like she'd laugh and laugh, and then the interviewers would laugh along with her uncomfortably. But it's almost like she's laughing, like we're all joy and whatever her thing is good and we get it or whatever. And she tried to pull that with Bear. She's like, "Well, you understand, right?"
Oh, did you see it? Did you watch it?
I watched excerpts where she's like basically trying to say that the reason things didn't get better was because of Trump. And then he's like, "But Trump's not in office." She's like, "Yes, but he's running." As if a man running for president is the same thing as a person who's in the administration that's in power.
She's such an empty suit that back in the day, she would have been lucky getting a job selling fucking dresses at Sears.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly. I mean, she to even be an attorney, are you kidding me? And then she thinks she can run she's vice president, now she thinks she can run for fucking president? No. Back in the day, she'd be nobody.
Yeah.
And back in the day, I'm not talking about going back that far. 30, 40 years, 50 years.
I mean, whether we win or she wins or loses, the mere fact that it's like this, that we have her even contending for the office, the highest office in the land, Tony, that's a scathing indictment of this country.
Well, go back to Biden getting elected as president. He should have never been in that position. He wasn't qualified for it.
Well, when people ask me, what do you think is going to happen in the election, I ask them, the simple fact that you're asking me that question tells you alone the state of this country. Yeah. The fact that it's even a competition. between somebody. Look, I've said this before. I have my problems with Trump. I don't think he's nearly hard enough, tough enough. But it's very obvious to me that he loves his country. I say it all the time.
Yeah.
She does not.
Yeah.
The left does not. They hate it.
Yeah.
And it's a very, very simple contrast. It's a patriot versus a communist, an anti-American communist.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're like just talking about it being an even match is sickening.
Yeah.
But what's even more sickening to me is to see that she was bragging about all the Republicans that were standing with her at Washington Crossing that now supposedly support her.
Yeah.
I want names. I want names of those Republicans.
Yeah. Well, it's the same old names.
It's the same people.
It's the McCain Republicans.
It's
all the McCain. It's all the McCain Republicans.
It's the Bush people. It's the McCain people. It's all the people we've talked about before.
So they show who they really are, what they really are.
Yeah, the fucking ghosts of Washington and his troops are watching this, standing on the other side of the river.
Yeah.
Just wanting to just fire cannons into that campaign event.
Yeah.
Just cannonballs, just firing away. And I thought about something though. These fucking traitors everywhere.
Yeah.
And there was a story about the Mexican gangs right now down in Mexico are being really hardcore. They actually are doing this thing now in this town that they took over, where they're where if you're caught, if you leave your house, they have roadblocks set up. Have you guys heard about this?
I haven't heard this. No.
They have roadblocks set up, right? And if they when they stop you, they take your fucking phone and they look at it. And if you have any contacts in there that are members or related to members of the rival gangs, right? They will execute you. And then they go after all of your contacts in your phone and execute all of them. And I thought to myself, that's what we should be doing. That's what we should be doing with these traitors. Could you imagine Roblox? Yeah. Just set up Hey, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
You can set them up.
Tony, I mean, it's already happened in this country. I remember in 2017 up at Berkeley for Patriot rallies for free speech, Antifa, they literally had roadblocks.
In Seattle, right?
No, in Berkeley.
Berkeley,
California, outside of Oakland.
Got it.
Oakland, up there in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of what modern, MAGA patriot activism really got kicked off on was back in like February, March of 2017 after the election. That's where Antifa really started to show their stuff because Soros' son is on some board there. So, it's their stronghold. Used to be a free speech bastion. And so these conservatives, these libertarians, these patriots thought they could go out there and exercise free speech. And Antifa, the Marxists, said no. And they were attacking them relentlessly.
So they were policing, they were like staking out a territory for themselves?
Yeah, we got away from
occupying, basically.
We got away from this major horde of Antifa. We're driving, trying to get back to where my vehicle's at, back behind enemy lines. And I thought I was plotting our course. We're gonna cut a long way around and come the back way. We missed a street, and I'm like, it shouldn't be a problem. So we turned on the next street, and there's Antifa with a checkpoint, stopping cars, looking in, black ninja mask, everything, looking in cars, checking everybody out, and letting them pass. And I remember the guy going, fuck, and we threw it in reverse and backed up and went another way.
Well, then it's similar. It's similar. I mean, checkpoints. Just set up checkpoints.
They're doing it.
Yeah, set up checkpoints.
I don't see them facing any federal charges.
Yeah. Trump should have set these checkpoints up a while ago. Think about how many traitors he would have caught.
Yeah.
But these people have no fucking fear. They have no fear to the point where they will proudly show their face standing arm in arm with her. Think about that.
Yeah.
Disgusting. And you talked about Biden earlier, and they talked about the coup, right? How they took him out. It's not her first coup. A lot of people don't even know that when she worked in the district attorney's office in San Francisco, people don't realize this too. She's a San Francisco, California communist, like period.
Exactly.
That's where she's fucking from. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
But she worked at the district attorney's office first, and she tried to launch a coup against one of the chief DAs.
It was her own boss, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was sloppy. Yeah. It didn't work out. She got caught. So she took a job at the city attorney's office.
Yeah.
And when she was at the city attorney's office, she sucked so badly. She was, I think she headed up a child affairs unit there. And the human services department would give out these performance reviews. And she scored low in decision making over and over and over again.
Yeah.
To the point, I think there was under her supervision, I think even they had a problem where where there was like data entry or something about how they maintained data, that it was so sloppily kept that 1,000 cases were dismissed because of her. Yeah.
Well, she's not a good decision maker. I mean, they're saying that this vice president pick she picked is probably the worst thing for her campaign, probably contributing to her lower poll ratings now. So,
well, I think actually those cases were dismissed when she came back and she ran for DA and she became DA.
Yeah.
And she talks about convicting everybody and prosecuting cases. Convictions fell sharply. She didn't convict anybody.
Yeah.
In fact, as you know, she's all for this.
Restorative justice,
but also trans surgery for these prisoners.
Prison inmates. Right? That's right.
So they keep playing this ad. Trump keeps playing this ad. Have you seen it?
I caught wind of it.
It's the ad where they show this criminal that he's in prison. His name is Skyler, and then I forget. I think his name was Skyler even before he tried to transition over, and now he's dressed up like a woman. He got the surgery or whatever, and they funded it. And I remember looking at the picture of him before he transitioned, before he had the surgery, and I thought that face looks kind of familiar to me. And then I remembered a case from 2003, and this is who the guy was. This is how sick it is. In 2003, do you remember the yacht killings in Newport Beach?
Yeah.
So you know about this?
Yeah, they took.
Oh yeah, I think I did catch
the yacht killings. The yacht killings in Newport Beach.
A couple, right?
A couple. This guy, there was this nice couple named Thomas and Jackie Hawks.
Yeah.
And he was a retired probation officer. Big, manly dude. They were perfect together. Just totally in love. They liked to boat. They liked to yacht. They had put all their money. They saved their money for many, many years. They put their money together. They bought this 55-foot yacht. They fixed it up. It was older. And it was their dream, right? They use it all the time. They find out that their kids are going to give them grandkids, but they lived in Arizona. So they said, you know what, let's change our lifestyle now. Let's sell the boat. We want to move to Arizona to be around them. Family's important. So they put the boat up for sale. This guy shows up, 25 years old, says, I have cash. You have $485,000 in cash? Yep, I have cash. How do you have cash? He comes with the story. Okay. So they do a preliminary deal, but then he says, can I come back again to do a sea trial?
Yeah.
And well, let's talk about that first. So he comes back. So he comes back with his wife.
His girlfriend.
His pregnant wife.
Yeah.
And their baby. Okay, they have like a 2-year-old kid or whatever. And Jackie Hawks, she loves kids. So her heart softens and they see them as a family. So it was a ploy, right? So let's trust them. So they trust them and say, yeah, sure, let's do it. They schedule it, but when this 25-year-old guy shows up, he doesn't show up with her. He shows up with this big black thug named John F. Kennedy. I swear to God, it's his name.
Oh man!
And John F. Kennedy is a convicted murderer, and it's a thug. And this other kid is like a Mexican kid, right? And they show up looking like thugs. And Thomas asks him, "Who is that guy? The black guy?" And he goes, "He's my accountant." First of all, be smart and say that guy's not a fucking accountant, okay? Yeah. But he caves. He lets him on the boat. They go out into the ocean. They keep going and going and going. and deep water, like 1,500 feet of water. And they somehow get them to come down in the cabin. They tase them. They tie them up. Yeah. They chain them to a fucking anchor and just throw them overboard like nothing. And if you read the story, the details of it are just gruesome. But the third witness that was on the boat, law enforcement pressured him to cooperate. He said these guys were so cold-blooded that on the way back, they found fishing rods and just fished on the way back, trying to catch fish just for fun. They were having a great time. Ugh. So this is the fuck. Oh, and the reason why he was trying to get that boat to sell it, to steal it and then sell it, is because he got them to sign. He forced them before he killed them to sign a power of attorney. So he was trying to steal that boat so he could fund his surgery to become a woman. Yeah, to try to become a woman, cut his nuts off. So
mental disorder.
Mental disorder. So he's now being rewarded, right, for the original crime.
For what he wanted all along.
He's being rewarded by our taxpayer money that she fucking supports.
Yeah.
And I know Brett Baer asked her about that last night, about providing this kind of surgery to prisoners. And she never gave a straight answer.
She tried to blame Trump again.
She tried to blame Trump again. So
well, she kept saying, we're going to follow the law. Somehow she was involved in creating this law, and then she's going to follow
it.
So.
Anybody who thinks about voting for that bitch needs to go look up the story of Thomas Jackie Hawks and watch the documentaries on this crime. It's the most horrific crime. This is the kind of crime that keeps me up at night. And the son... he still lives in Newport Beach, I think. And can you imagine thinking about where his parents ended up? They were never found, of course.
Yeah.
But this trans thing's out of control, and that if that alone is not a reason to vote against these people, I don't know what is. They were showing even this San Jose volleyball player as a man, right? Spiking a ball in the face.
Danielson does well to keep that one alive. Fleming. And Danielson on the receiving end of that one. She pops up, letting everybody know she's all right.
I saw that hit the poor guy on the face.
Yeah, did you see that? And the announcers, the commentators are saying, boy, she got hit in the face with that ball. She's probably pretty embarrassed by that. Excuse me, embarrassed? Yeah. You should be embarrassed that you're even calling the fucking game.
Yeah.
And the fucking parents, if I was the parent and I saw my kid get smacked in the face by trans, I'd fucking go down there, punch that fucking bitch in the face, okay? And then I'd walk over and beat the shit out of the coaches on the other team and the coaches of our own team, because he's allowing this.
Yeah.
All these officials that are allowing this to go on in sports is ridiculous. And what I'm sick of hearing too, including Trump, they say, well, it's not really fair. It's not fair to let this go on because, when a man competes with a woman, it creates an unfair competition. It's not even about that. That's fucking obvious.
Yeah.
It's the fact that it's a fucking freak show and it shouldn't be happening anyway.
Yeah.
These people should not be on basketball courts and football fields and swimming pools competing. They should be in insane asylums, right?
And you left out go beat the shit out of the commentator.
Well,
I mean, if you're gonna fucking cover all the bases, Tony.
But I'd go all the way down to the court, beat the shit out of them, then have to climb the stairs to go all the way back up again. Maybe I'd send you.
Yeah.
I'd send the Bulldog up. But and FEMA, that's another thing. I don't remember if he questioned her on that or not. Did he?
I don't know if he talked to her about FEMA.
So to be fair, I mean, the guy's a stiff. He's a stuffed suit. But they did cut it's supposed to be 30 minutes, and I think they cut it. They showed up late, and then they concluded early. Supposedly, her handlers, there were 4 people that were like waving their arms frantically to stop the interview. So, I mean, he's probably trying to, what, with these kind of interviews, Tony, it's like a kitty cat. You don't want to go, get here, kitty cat, because it'll run.
Yeah.
You want to be like soft, kitty, and so he's probably trying to like lure her to say more.
Yeah.
Because she could just walk, you know.
Yeah.
Trump's walked out of interviews.
No, but he should have ended the interview after a few minutes.
He said, "Bitch, sit your ass down. You're not going anywhere."
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if somebody would just talk that way. Can we start talking like that?
Yeah.
Who fucking cares? It's not dignified. I heard somebody today on a talk show saying, again, Trump, the way he said something about Newsom, called him new scum. That's not. I wish my guy wouldn't talk that way.
Yeah.
He's not.
Shut the fuck up.
Dignified. You know, it's like, ladies, shut the fuck up. Exactly.
It's mostly ladies, yeah, and they want. Oh, I like him, but he needs to stop with the tweets. Shut the. They're so stupid.
And that's why people are allowing FEMA to get away with this, saying, "Oh, call all of our agents, tell them to stand down for right now because there are militias out there." Right?
Yeah, but the whole thing is just a big fake. That's FEMA is not doing their job, and they're looking to deflect. And I think they're trying to deflect on these poor people. And
it's always the opposite because the militias out there are actually the ones that are doing the life-saving acts. They're the ones that are rescuing people.
Amen.
They're the ones that are rebuilding
bringing the
bridges.
militias. Yep.
They're the ones that are pulling together because they're locals.
Yep.
They're the ones that are bringing in food and supplies. They're doing what the federal government won't do or can't do and putting it to shame. So naturally, like any twisted sociopath, not only are they not going to give them credit, but they're actually going to blame them for their own shortcomings.
Hey, I've had heads of militias come into the restaurant Basilico's and say to me, "Hey, Tony, you need us? Call us." Yeah, exactly. But I think that I was thinking about all those people there suffering. Yeah, we talked about all that money being diverted to the illegal aliens, but think about the money. Yeah, we already know about the money going to Ukraine and Israel. That's obvious. But then there's countries like they're sending like $2 billion a year. We sent $2 billion a year just last year to fucking Ethiopia. $2 billion. 1.43 billion to Egypt. Think about this. Billions.
So the money that they send to Egypt,
Afghanistan, Syria.
They're still sending money to Afghanistan.
The money, Syria, Somalia, Yemen, Congo. I mean, we're talking about billions.
Yeah. Well, some of the money they send is because
South Sudan. Good.
Like Egypt, for instance. Egypt was in a war with Israel.
Yep.
So that's like to keep everything cool.
I get it.
You know? It's our way of, I don't know what.
But you're telling me you're giving $2 billion to people in South Sudan or whatever the fuck they're giving them. It's around that amount. And we have people in our country that are crying for, I think it was $750.
I know.
Are you fucking kidding me? This is a disgrace.
Yeah.
And we should go to war in this country just for that.
Yeah.
Just for that alone.
Yeah. I think Kamala Harris was pretty proud of that $750 that was being handed out to those poor hurricane victims.
I mean, the way she talks and lies, it reminds me of like a little child, like that's, lying about the cookie they ate or something. She's 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Like a 3-year-old.
Well, Trump's saying he's going to send elite squads out to hunt down these gangs that she's living in, these gangs from Venezuela.
Yeah.
And deport them, I guess. And then he's going to execute any gang member that kills a police officer or American citizen.
Well, not only that, Tony, you want to go farther? So if he's going to execute a gang member that executes a police officer, American citizen, maybe he should even go after the police officers who turn a blind eye to these fucking gang members, right? He should go after.
They should be given a death sentence for even joining a gang. How about that? You even join a gang, you get a death sentence.
Well, I remember my DA in Santa Ana, when I said my alleged victims are in this gang, she's like, "So what does that matter?" She said that on the record. But then, we find out, well, the gang is called the Sick-Minded Criminals.
Yeah.
Because she's trying to imply that, just because you're in a gang doesn't mean you're a criminal.
Yeah.
Well, their gang is called Sick-Minded Criminals.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's kind of obvious.
And why don't we build, they're shutting down, I heard, they're shutting down a prison. There was one has a funny word like an animal. Cowachilla or...
Chachilla?
Is that the one?
Chachilla?
Yeah, Chakawala.
Okay.
They're shutting it down. Why not keep that open and just use it for illegal aliens only? Because you know what? I don't want to hear about them shipping them back. Because every time they ship them back, they come right back back here again, right? Yeah. So he talks about 10-year sentences. Just give him 10-year sentences. Mandatory.
But that costs money.
You don't think it costs money to fly these people back? Yeah. That's what they're doing, right? And it's going to cost them double the money. They're going to come back and commit the same crimes all over again anyway. Yeah. Right?
Well, if we could have built the wall.
Well, go ahead.
You got to build the wall. He's got to, the wall needs to be finished. So.
Well, he's got that act he can use now, the 1798 Illegal Aliens Act. Did you hear about that?
No, I heard
that. Yeah. He actually has. We have laws in place that no one has the balls to fucking use.
Yeah.
And Trump is saying he's going to use it, but I don't know if he will. And then he's also got the 1807 Insurrection Act. You know about that one, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny how on that Brett Baer interview, Kamala was talking about how, can you believe Trump is talking about incarcerating, imprisoning, or going after traitors, right? And people who like rebel. But think about the rebellion that they've been talking about. Her and Biden have said. Biden himself actually said it. He said, if people who support the Second Amendment want to use that to try to rebel against us, they better bring F-15s.
Yeah.
So here he is threatening, basically saying, we have F-15s and you don't.
Yeah.
And she's complaining about Trump. It's ridiculous. But I think...
don't forget, she was funding the insurrection of BLM, raising bail to get them back out.
Yeah.
She was doing that. So she should be charged for that insurrection. Because that's real.
Yeah, but she's too busy going on shows like... That's another thing. Who the fuck... There's this guy I keep hearing about named Charlene the Thug. Have you heard about him?
No.
Charlene the Thug.
What? Charlene
the Thug. He's got. That's what I call him.
Oh, you're talking about. I know you're talking.
That's what I fucking call him. I won't say his name.
You don't say real names.
You can say his fucking name. What is it?
Charlemagne the God.
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
I don't know.
Why the fuck do people bow down to this fucking guy and even acknowledge that he calls himself the God?
Yeah.
TV programming.
Have you listened to any of his?
No, I will never listen to it. But the fact that people the fact that supposedly distinguished politicians go to him for his approval is another indicator of where our country stands and the decay over the last 100 years.
Yeah.
This fucking guy I read though, what would you say his name was again?
Charlemagne.
Yeah. The what?
The God.
Yeah. Charlene the Thug. So this fucking guy, this guy's been convicted. He's been arrested for drug possession, cocaine dealing. I think he was arrested for sexual harassment or some sexual crime against a minor. Yeah. This guy's has all kinds of problems, but nobody talks about that.
Yeah.
They just go on these shows and kiss their fucking ass. And Trump too is going on some of these dumb fucking shows with these goofy guys.
Yeah.
I wonder if he would have the balls to come on our show.
Well, if he was smart, he would, but you never know.
And even on Goodfellas night, I remember somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, Tony," it was one of the Jewish guys. I don't know what he was doing there, but he said, "I'm just kidding. He's a nice guy." But he said to us, "Did you hear the news that Christopher Columbus is Jewish?"
Yeah.
And you heard about that, right?
What's that all about?
Well, I think, like I said that night, I think what they're doing is they're trying to take, another Italian hero away from us until we don't have any fucking left.
Well, they're saying he's Spanish.
One that inspires us to fight. He's one that inspires. But I think they're doing it like I said that night. Is I think that they know that if they can get him out of the way, right? Because they know Italians like us, you as well.
Yeah.
We're the last line of defense. We're the kind of guys that have the fire inside of us that'll put up a hard, strong fucking fight.
Yeah.
And who else is going to be left to put them in concrete shoes anyway?
That's right.
In the end, so it's going to be us. But I was glad to see though at least that there's these, we talked about billionaires wanting to fund a fight. You were saying actually that somebody funded that house where the J6ers were staying, right?
It seems so. I mean, I don't know how long they're going to keep it up. I think maybe the end of November, and then they run out of funding for it. But I mean, hopefully they can keep it going. Those ladies deserve another 6 months.
But somebody stepped up.
Yeah,
I don't
know who and how.
That's what I'm talking about, right? I mean, that's
that's
what we need on our side. We don't have that. The other side has it. We don't fucking have it.
It's good I don't know because you know what? Right now, it's not safe in this country for anyone to know who's funding anything. Because, I was thinking about this earlier, Tony. You and I worked with our friend Joe, who's working with the Gateway Pundit.
Yeah,
and he was very helpful in getting some articles out.
Joe Hoff's always there when we need him.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I was thinking, Joe's kind of like pulling back a little bit lately. And I was like thinking, well, for sure. Just in the last week or two, right? He's pulling back, but I get it now because his brother, who had the Gateway Pundit, was one of the people that got wrecked with one of those like hundreds of $1 million lawsuits.
Yeah.
And so I got to think, Joe's a reasonable man. He's probably thinking, I got to be careful. We're targets. They could hit me with that too. And I get it. I mean, look at it. We're allowing this to happen to our side.
Can't happen.
We've allowed this to happen to our side. And it's and this, people have died for $100. So think about it. When you take away a person by giving a judgment against them for $150 million, who the fuck?
But at that point, who fucking cares? I mean, at that point, the number is so fucking big, who even cares anymore?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I feel. I feel like, if you're going to do $100 to a lot of people, might as well be $150 million. So
well, no, but if you got a judgment against you for $150 million, believe me, if your opponent has people that are aware of that, they're going to be lining up to help them make sure that gets collected or as much can be as possible because they want a piece of it. So when you give some asshole a $150 million judgment against you, you're giving that asshole tremendous power to have supporters lining up out of the woodwork to come after you. You basically put a hit on this person. You put a fucking target on this person. And the fact that this is happening in this country, that's fucking too far. And it's having a chilling effect of silencing. And it's one-way judicial system. What, you don't think they can collect? You don't think they can make you fucking sorry?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. If you go soft, you go weak, it's going to happen faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You fucking fight back. You flame throw back. You have to, man. And I think that when people come hard at me, that's just how I am. I want to go even hard. Like if you fuck with me, I'm going to come harder at you. That's just the way it's got to be. You can't go soft. If you go soft, they see blood in the water. They attack harder. They sense the kill, right? So, talking about that too, it's funny that you brought that up because, we have to get in touch with Joe Hoff to find out what's going on, but because he's been good to us. But I was thinking about those two women that we talked about last week that sued Giuliani, and I was reading that they went to court again to try to get the judge to force him to turn over his properties, his homes. He's got like two or three of them, I think, real estate. His bank accounts. They want him to turn over his some mementos that he got. I think they were rings from foreign dignitaries that gave him rings after 9/11. The way he handled 9/11. They want to take his World Series rings away because he was mayor of New York City. Yeah. I guess they issued him a couple World Series rings when the Yankees won, and they just won't fucking stop.
They want to thoroughly humiliate.
They don't. And so you tell me that their whole lawsuit was about getting justice? No, it wasn't. It's a fucking money grab. Yeah. Look at these fucking people. They're ruthless.
Well, how about these judges and juries? These judgments are just completely out of whack compared to. The whatever offense that he's been, convicted of. So where's the legal system that's going to put that in perspective? Why does Trump get hit with a $500 million judgment and the judge is laughing about it? So,
well, it got overturned a week ago.
I know, but
so.
Yeah. But the thing is, what I'm trying to say here is that their side's always trying to ask us, where's the heart? Yeah. Where's your heart? Where's your heart? But when they get their chance to bounce, they don't fucking care. They go for the kill, they want to fucking bury you.
Yeah.
They want to see. They don't admit it. All these people that you hear talk about Trump, it's so painful for them to talk about it being a fair election because they don't want it to be a fair election.
No,
well,
they want him to be dead.
This
That's
shit
what
is
they want.
making me just fucking talking, complaining about it is making me fucking enraged. Because you know what? I don't want to talk about it. I want to see fucking them gone after harder. All these fucking billionaires that are funding the fucking demise of this country, these oligarchs, they need to have everything taken from them. And they need to be fucking put in prison. From Soros on down, every single one of them.
Yeah, all the media types too.
Every one of
them.
They need to have it all taken from them. And we need to have strong, decisive action because they haven't even begun to fight. We're playing a defensive losing strategy here. You know, barely coming back maybe.
Bill fucking Maher this week, I saw, was laughing and saying he wants credit because in the last 10 years, I think he said, if you look at London, because I guess he used to bitch about London, he used to travel there, and he said, look now, and 10 years ago, they were 35% non-white. Now, he says, I think they're about 65% non-white. And he's celebrating it and laughing and saying, I deserve credit. They should be thanking me. This is what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
They want to wipe out all patriotism. They want to wipe out white America. They want to wipe out conservatives, traditional values, all of it. What?
Yeah, in any European white country, they want to wipe out the white identity.
Yeah.
8% of the world is considered white.
Yeah.
So that's the minority.
Yeah, and they want to. These fucking crazy ass leftists want to put all their time into prison reform. Which you were talking about earlier, prison reform. They're trying to turn. They're actually bringing to San Quentin. They're bringing a film festival to San Quentin. Think about that. And dipshits like you, that word you always use. Dipshits like
civility dipshits. Civility dipshits. Yeah. No, we gotta be nice.
Jerry Seinfeld is actually going there endorsing it, and he's bringing his daughter there.
Yeah.
He's bringing his fucking daughter there to watch a film, to screen a film called Daughters, I think. And it's about a man that attends somehow a daddy-daughter dance at the prison with his daughter.
Oh, man.
That sounds
Yeah.
So was his daughter like 12 years old or something?
Well, what he should be doing is he should be making his daughter instead visit with young girls who've been victimized by some of the people in the prison.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She needs to see films of what these men had done in their past.
Yeah.
You know, how they victimized people and young girls and women. Instead, he's dragging her to the fucking prison for a film festival.
Yeah.
So this is what we're fucking dealing with. And there's no film festivals, I'm sure, at the J6 jail. Is there? No. There's just light switches turning off and on. Light switches. That's what they get, a light switch. Like I said, I'd give them a fucking candle, and that's about it.
Well, he's going to take his daughter to present this show that he's like doing this, but really it's going to be other people that are affected by the danger of that because he'll be safe, she'll be safe. But the precedent they set, the example they set is a bad example because out in the real world, people that aren't Seinfeld and his daughter, they're gonna feel the consequences of that kind of stupid mentality of letting down your guard and not following what have been time-honored social norms. I'm about redemption. I'm a Christian, but still you gotta pay your price and in the flesh, in the world, and this just seems like bad, dysfunctional policy that they're pushing.
But how do you feel when you see people putting all their hope and trust into Trump? How does that make you feel?
I'm worried.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not putting my hope and trust in Trump. I'm going to fight as if he's not going to make it.
Exactly. That's what I tell everybody.
Yeah.
You decide. You dictate how you live as a free American man or woman. You don't fucking let some guy that really down deep, I don't know how much he cares about you.
Yeah.
You can decide every day when you wake up how you're going to live your fucking life. And I tell people this all the time, that defiance is the number one way to live your life that way.
Yeah.
Just fucking defy every day. Something you don't believe in, defy. Defy, defy, defy. That's how this country was fucking birthed. What?
I like his name, Trump, because it has
great. He has a great fucking name.
It implies
I agree
like
with that.
the Trump card, like you're trumping things. You're
No,
overturning.
I always love the name.
And so what I say is, if you want to expound upon that, then we all should be Trump. We should all be Trump cards. All the people, not Trump the man, but Trump the concept of like overturning, challenging, fighting the existing norm, trumping it, overshadowing it, like, trumping it, like, and we all should be. There should be 1 million Trumps in this country, not just one. There should be 1 million, and then if there are 1 million, maybe then it'll make it easier for him to do what he's got to do. Because right now I feel like people are putting it on him to do it, and then they're like, "Do it for us." Don't go that far. Tone it down. Then they get bitch.
Yeah.
No, he needs to have everybody saying, "Go harder, push farther."
Go Roman on their ass. And when I say Roman, I'm talking about the Romans from the Roman Empire, right? Mm-hmm. Throwing them in bags and sewing animals inside the bag, throw them in the water. Stuff like that.
In Minecraft.
What?
Yeah, in Minecraft.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it takes. I mean, we have to, like we were talking about last time. The enemies were so scared of the Roman Empire they would commit suicide before the punishment.
Yeah.
So it was even handed down. But I think that with Trump, I think that the first thing he needs to do is he needs to fire all those people around him that are going to betray him. It's going to happen. The minute he gets elected, he's going to be betrayed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like they're setting the narrative already that you were talking about. J.D. Vance is like the future. So soft spoken. And I hear people talk about
and the eyeliner. Don't forget the eyeliner.
They or there's there's all kinds of skeletons in his closet. Like I think there's one with him in a wig, right? Wearing a blonde.
He dressed up as a woman, I think, for Halloween.
Oh, it was Halloween. Okay. All right.
Well, no,
I wouldn't do it. But
it's getting worse. I just heard that because he's a converted Catholic. He became Catholic.
Yeah.
And he put out a quote the other day.
And he's married to a Hindu.
He's married to a Hindu, and he put out a quote, and he went vegan for her. He learned how to cook vegan food. Where's the pants in that family?
Yeah.
Talked about that. But he put out a quote that he says, "I feel terrible that I make her go to church every Sunday."
Oh, yeah.
He feels terrible. Then he should have married a Christian.
Yeah.
Should have married a Catholic.
Yeah.
Fuck are you thinking?
Yeah.
It's just more compromise over and over and over.
That's conservative America, Republican America. He's going to be ashamed of his faith, his conservative, Christian faith. He's going to be ashamed of that. He's going to feel terrible,
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense, and that's scary. That they are already trying to line that up as the narrative. This is the future. Well, that's not a winning strategy. Future. That's a losing strategy. Future.
Well, the election's coming up soon. You're talking about what? 20? How many more days? 23 to 24 days.
Less than 3 weeks.
Less than 3 weeks away.
I think it's like
Tuesday. What's today? Thursday.
I think it's like
Tuesday was 3 weeks.
days, Tony.
Yeah. So at Basilico's, a lot of people are asking if we're gonna do an event there. We'll have a watch party there. We'll put a big screen TV in there, some nice sound, and we did it for a few of the debates, and people would show up and have a good time. So people watching this want to come by and say hello. I think we're going to be there, right?
Yeah.
So are we going to live stream it?
We've talked about that. Thomas has talked about doing that.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think we should?
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do that.
Yeah. It's always a good evening.
But the problem is, last time 4 years ago, it looked like a wipeout. So and then
until they stopped counting,
and then we all went home, and then the next day you found out that that they cheated. So so it's like really not going to even celebrate anything that night unless it's a crushing defeat.
Yeah.
But even then you don't know what's going to happen.
Well, you won't know. You won't know until the next day.
Early voting has to end, right?
Well,
mail-in all that shit started back in the day for military personnel.
The mail-in voting was for the military.
Yeah, that's how it all started.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, the lockdowns happened, 2020, and the left used it as a...
emergency measures.
Well, they never let a good crisis go to waste, as they always say.
Yeah. Our voting system is really a mess right now. I mean, I don't know. To me, it's not a fair system. I'm going to go back to what the founders said. Not everybody should be allowed to vote. We talked about that last time.
Yeah,
and it's they're paying people for their vote. What kind of you know.
Did you say somebody? You don't have to say who, but somebody said that I was a what? You said your mother called me a chauvinist, but you said somebody said something else, something similar. You don't have to say who it was.
They when they found out that you don't have women on the show.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? And I said, yeah, that's Tony. He's old fashioned. It's a guy thing, right? Roman rules. It's a guy thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then she said, or it's a chauvinist fascist pig thing.
Wow. I'll take it.
That's a bad
I'll take it, man. I'll take it. Let's say. I wanted to say too, like we were talking about this earlier. Somebody, a politician, we won't say who he is, said to us, I want to come on your show, but he hadn't seen it yet.
No.
And I thought to myself, if he sees it, he's probably not going to come to the show. And I don't say that because a politician or somebody that has a lot at stake is afraid to be hammered by us.
Yeah.
Although that's going to happen. You talk about it, the Roman Inquisition, right?
Yeah.
You give everybody that to see, what they're made of, what kind of metal these guys have. But
put them in the hot seat.
But I was thinking would be we almost want our show to be so hardcore that nobody is willing to come on the show, and not because they're afraid of the heat, of facing the heat, but because they don't want to be associated with us. They don't want it to get out that they were on our show.
Yeah.
Right. So it's almost like a challenge that I'm putting out right now to people watching. Like if you have a lot at stake, if you're a high profile person, you got a high profile job, you have your own TV show, you have, you're in the media, you're in politics, you're a man of importance, right? In the public's view. If you have the balls to come on with us, let us know. If we find you interesting enough, we've only had one guest so far because he was a friend of ours.
Yeah.
And we thought his story was interesting. A fellow J6er just got out of prison. But this would be our second one.
And we still gave him a hard time.
We still gave him a hard time.
Yeah.
We still wanted him to understand what our standards are, what the standard is. But I think that'd be interesting to see who's got the balls to step up and come here and sit with us.
Yeah.
And film.
Well, there's been people who initially are all excited to be,
and then we don't hear from
part
them
of this crew.
Yeah, and then you hand them the website address.
Yeah, this is what's going to take, and they back out.
Yeah, well, you give them the website address. They go look at it, and then we don't hear from them ever again. So that's what I'm saying. Like if we can get people to do that, and maybe we'll even if it's somebody that has something important to say, and it's somebody that stands with us in this fight, like really goes hard, and understands what the standard is, and they've maybe have an example of it in their own lives, and they come on the show. Maybe we reward them with like a challenge, like a Roman rules challenge coin or something.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And we say, you know what, you're now made man of liberty. You get a challenge coin because you came on the show, and you laid it on the line.
Yeah.
Tony, there is an example that comes to my mind. I was going to talk to you about it.
What's that?
And maybe this won't make the cut.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about. But I did know, and I haven't had a chance because it's just been a few days.
Yeah, yeah.
But we had a local politician at the last Goodfellas night, and I won't say a name. We had a local politician.
Yeah.
Very popular, held up on a pedestal as a standard for how to fight.
Yeah. Well, he's not only a local politician; he's becoming almost a regional and close to a national politician.
So what I'm going to say is, and you probably haven't been aware of this, but I've been following it.
Yeah.
There were some platforms that he shared with the infamous, notorious piece of shit Todd Spitzer, the district attorney of Orange County.
Okay.
Who prosecutes Trump supporters when they get attacked. Not just me.
Yeah.
But he prosecutes Trump supporters when they get attacked by Soros-funded goons.
Got it.
So, Todd Spitzer, you're never going to get me back off. I've seen enough to know that Todd Spitzer is a piece of shit.
Yep.
Our DA here in Orange County is a fucking traitor. He's a piece of shit. I've even heard things about him and young girls.
Yeah.
Everything you can imagine.
Yeah.
So, but what I'll say is this. This individual, when I was talking and I brought up
Was that on Monday night?
On the Monday night, I brought up and I said, and I showed the picture of my, poor victim with his brass knuckles, and I said, and by the way, he was just 6 months before our encounter arrested in Newport Beach with brass knuckles. But Todd Spitzer made that go away because they want to clean up their little witness victim so that looks like a good little boy for his fucking testifying against me. And I caught that guy kind of shake his head. But I didn't get the sense, because he never came out to me and said, I think that's wrong what he's doing or like that. But I think he didn't like the amount of bad, amount of shade, basically, as they say, that was throwing on Todd Spitzer. Yeah. Because that's, in a way, he's kind of yoked himself with him. He's that's his boy. Yeah. We're Republicans.
Yeah.
And we stand with Republicans.
Yeah, sure.
So I got a sense that there was a little bit of, not appreciation.
Yeah. And that's why I'm saying, like, if somebody's willing to come on with us and face the fire, not only lay their own reputation on the line, but also face the fire, I think that's a great example, actually.
Yeah, because you see something, say
he's
something.
Willing to do that.
You see something, and am I my brother's keeper? Yes, you are.
Yeah. This person says, and if this person says, yeah, I'll do it, I'll come on, and we even say to them, look, you're gonna face some tough questions.
Yeah.
About who you associate with.
Don't worry.
Like you said, they look in the phone.
Don't worry about associated with us.
Worry about who you're associated with. We don't like.
We're going to find out who you're associated with.
Yeah, who are you lining yourself with?
That's what you need to be worried about, because especially if this show becomes big at some point, we have that platform and leverage, they're going to have to think about it long and hard, right?
Yeah.
So,
history may not be kind to them. May not be kind to us, but that's a chance we're willing to take. But history may not be kind to them. And they may go down.
We'll be respectful. We're not going to do anything crazy, but we're going to be very honest about it.
Well, I don't know. Did that night, like when I was talking to that guy, you said my eyes started to glow, right? What did you say?
Like laser beams were coming out of your eyes.
Yeah. The guy was like, he was talking. He brought up Todd Spitzer. He's like, well, he's not doing enough to keep the homeless people off my cul-de-sac. Oh, and I said, and he's like, God. You're going to trial and you're your own attorney. Only an idiot would do that. And I said, you looked at this fucking picture of a man with brass knuckles that I told you was punching women.
Yeah.
And your biggest problem is I'm representing myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. So when people say things to him, like, I know what the trigger words are for him.
Yeah.
Well, he said, "Should I get out?" I said, "Yeah."
And it's like the bulldog. When I have the leash on, sometimes I gotta tug it, or put blinders on him, or like a muzzle even. Sometimes
you just let it happen, Tony.
But
you let it happen.
But most of the time, I unhook the fucking leash
and just let it go,
because it's a great show, man. It's a great show, and I understand the rage that he feels. We understand each other. So I sit back and watch, and I let people get what they deserve.
I remember after that, because I felt bad because they were customers. They were leaving, right? Yeah. And I said, Tony, I'm sorry. And you're like, no, don't be sorry. And I said, I'm sorry it had to be that way. And you just started busting out laughing.
It's like, yeah,
because it had to be that way.
Yeah,
had to be that way. I mean, it was funny, and I'm always proud of him because he's doing what needs to be done. These are the kind of this is the way we need to fight every battle. We need to go into it unafraid, guns blazing, right? Never backing down, never giving an inch, and do it with rage. Rage is okay. Rage is healthy.
Yeah,
I think it is.
Yeah, it makes the point.
Hey, it's got me through.
Yeah. Through a lot.
Yeah, I think so.
When I was leaving DC last night, and the ladies, they said, well, how much you need some sleep, right? You're getting up early. I told them, I said, I can sleep when I'm dead.
That is a great old saying.
Is that a real saying?
It's an old saying.
I just felt it. I didn't hear it.
Plenty of time. Yeah. Well, we don't have time to fucking die. We got too much shit to do.
Yeah.
Too many battles to fight.
And we're too angry to die.
You got to win these cases. You got to win this January 6th case.
Yeah. Well,
I got to make them regret it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, guys. Enjoyed being with you again tonight.
Awesome. It's always good.
For everybody out there watching, remember, you're Americans, act like it. And Doug, Kim, see you next time.
God willing.
God willing.
Amen.